What's up, ladies and gents? This is Travis with Virginia Highlands Outdoors, and in this video I'm fishing a local pond that I grew up fishing as a kid. Now I haven't been to this pond in about 20 years. The last time I fished it I was either 18 or 19 years old, somewhere abouts. But I got permission to go back, and when I got there I saw that the banks were lined with blackberry bushes, raspberry bushes, and just, thorns, old rose bushes and stuff like that everywhere. So it was a trick just getting back to the one side we used to fish. It took a while, it took a lot of stickers. I did end up waiting a little bit, but it was worth it. Now I didn't catch any huge fish this day. I did catch 8, and I was messing around with my GoPro. I kept having problems with it falling down, and one time when I reached up to adjust it, I actually shut it off and didn't realize it. I did see one good fish swimming, so I'll definitely be going back and trying to hook up with him. But I was using a Storm Wildeye Jigging Shad, which they no longer make. It was a 2-piece. I had a weighted resin poured jig head, and then you could get different swim bait bodies. They were the ones I have were just a normal shad and then a rainbow trout pattern. But I've had a lot of good luck with these over the years, and unfortunately they're discontinued. So if any of you have any of these that you don't want and would either want to donate or sell, let me know. I'd like to have some of them. I'm down to my last jigging head, and I have 6 bodies. So like I said, it's been a really productive lure for me so far this year with smallmouth and largemouth. But like I said, I'm down to the last one. Now this fish right here come out from under the briars right at my feet to get that. I've been fishing there maybe like 10 minutes at this time. I tried that red spinnerbait first with no luck, and then I put this the Storm finesse swim bait on, and the second cast end up catching that fish. Now it's a decent healthy looking, probably pound and 3/4 maybe, but it was kind of wild that he was laying at my feet the whole time and I just couldn't see him because of the briars.
Right here in front of me.
Now, I really wished I had a flipping rod with some braid on it, but unfortunately I do not. I would have liked to have been able to get closer to the edge. I was actually just casting maybe like 2 feet away from the overhang. Now see, the way the briars are growing, they're actually overhanging the water, so if I had a way to get just a little bit closer with a weedless jig and some good heavy line, I think I could probably pull out some pretty good fish. Now my buddy who owns this, he said I could come by and get his John boat anytime and use it, so I might do that so we can actually work the edge of this whole pond and fish a lot of this brush and overhang. I think it'll do well because that's where I saw the big one. He briefly came out from the overhanging briars, and there was a huge snapping turtle out there, and the fish decided he didn't want no part of it, so he went back. But I think, I'm going to fish it some more, and as long as my buddy still lets me, and we're going to try and get some video of some good ones, because there used to be some huge bass in this pond and huge bluegill. But I'm just considering this a warm-up lap pretty much. Alright, fish number 2 is no giant by no means, but he is a pretty fish. Had some nice colors to him, or her, whichever one it is. It's hard to tell when they're that small. But the largemouth looked pretty cool. That's 2 fish in 5 minutes of switching baits, and that's a total of about 20 minutes fishing there. Because I spent about 15 minutes throwing the spinner bait with no luck. So that's a pretty good return on the bait and the pond. So I cast here a couple more times, and then I moved down to another spot I was at, which was right to my left. You'll see what I have to go through just to get to that. That's just like 10 feet away. But I cast in and from a different angle because I wanted to work the other side of the brush pile, and so we get hooked up there too. And then unfortunately I turned my GoPro off. But it is what it is. I've been having some really bad filming days with the head mount, sliding down, or just really bad audio, or just something has just happened the past several times, and I do apologize. But it's going to happen, especially if you go out a couple times a week to try and get video. It's just the way it is. You're going to get some good and you're going to get some bad. But I just wanted y'all to see how rough this place was, and it's really hard casting because you got to kind of weed your line, or excuse me, your pole through the briars. So you got to check your back cast before you even make a forward cast. So it's like pretty rough. And you can see here I'm getting hung up, so I do have to break a lot of brush down. Had to retie a couple times because I got my line hung on the briars themselves, like here. But it was awesome getting to go back to the old pond that we spent hours and hours on, learning how to fish. One of the many spots we learned how to fish. We spent a lot of time here, and this was a fun place to fish. Unfortunately, it's a little harder to fish now, but actually that's probably better. You can tell there's not a lot of people fishing it, which is good. It don't get a lot of pressure. I'm blessed my buddy let me go back. I really appreciate it to him, and I want to hit it up with him too, because that's who I used to fish it with all the time. So it'd be cool to get back out with my buddy, do some fishing, because we used to fish all the time. So get hooked up with him, get out here and maybe catch some toads for you. Now this cast right here is to the other side of the brush pile I was working. The cast right before that, I started hooking up with pretty good fish, one right after another. So must be a brush pile out in the middle of the pond that's holding fish. Now I meant to point out in this video, just a few minutes ago in the video, because the GoPro's pointed down towards my hands, and you can kind of see how I was working the bait. So if you want to go back and just check that out and see, you'll see that I'm reeling and actually just slightly lifting up and down to give a more natural presentation of a bait fish. And I think that really helps, instead of just doing a constant straight retrieve without moving your rod. Just an inch or two makes a world of difference. Try it out, and we'll be checking back with you soon. Peace.